Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Barb Cooper.
This is Ray Bowman with the National Council on Patient Information Education, NCPI, welcoming everyone to Webinar 4, the Pass It Forward's Comments webinar. Our plan for today is to work through a brief agenda and see if we can have a dialogue about and get your feedback on the process and program that culminated with our Webinar 3 when we announced the winners for the Pass It Forward Video Challenge. Let me just take a second to review. As you see on your screen, the Pass It Forward Video Challenge was a competition for young people age 18 to 25. The purpose being for the challenge was to create broad awareness for and use of the messaging and materials embedded in 5 websites that you see listed there. Maximizing your role as a teen influencer all the way through taking action to prevent prescription drug abuse, a resource kit for America's college campuses, and also 2 SAMHSA vitally important web resource materials. The challenge that we posed for our entrance was to create a 2-minute video that shows what creative strategies can help ensure that the 5 web-based tools reach college campuses and across communities in this country. The additional challenge that we posed, and we'll want to talk about this as we move forward today, is how can you, meaning the young people interested in submitting a video, use social media to pass these messages forward. So it really became a challenge within a challenge. Our call to action for the contestants was to pick one or all of the sites that you see below and that we've talked about in the previous slide to create their video based on their decisions. Here you'll see if not the scheduling, the topical areas for our 4 webinars. This is the 4th and final in our series. The first one was basically introducing the challenge. The second one was providing lots of details and information and tips and techniques for developing your video. And the third video that we had last week was, here are the winners. And so now we're here today to elicit from you your comments and your suggestions and ideas for creating even better challenges and programs with NCPI and SAMHSA and all of us here today as we move forward. This slide, we wanted to make sure that we recognize our 2 video challenge winners. First place, Andrew Gonzalez, the RX Trap, he's from Butler University, and second place, Raylan Smith from Ohio State University, a film major there, and her video is entitled Serendipity. These videos are found now on the NCPI YouTube channel, National Council on Patient Information and Education. If you search that on YouTube, it'll take you right to those 2 videos. Today's webinar, here's what we want to accomplish. We'd like to hear from you about what went right and what can we do better next time. And also we want to hear from you, and we'll all engage about ideas on future video challenges or future ways of getting our key messages across.
Okay, thank you, Ray. And with the introductions and the introductory material done, I now would like to have, as Ray said, a candid discussion about the competition itself. All of our lines are open so we can meet together. And that being said, I want to let everyone know that Raylan Smith, our second place winner, couldn't be here this afternoon. But she has provided her feedback on the questions we'll be asking you, and I'll be referring to her notes at various times during our discussion. So let's get started. Really, the first thing I want to address are goals and objectives. Before I even do that, I'd also like to introduce Will Marie Hernandez, who is our project officer from SAMHSA. And Will Marie, would you like to say some words?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here. Excuse my voice. I'm a little sick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm here with Abraham Ruiz, who has been helping and working on this as well. And we just want to say that congratulations to the winners, and they did a tremendous job. We know that these videos take a lot of time and effort, and it's a really good way to get to young people. And that's one of the SAMHSA goals, and especially this office, we're trying to do this type of things to get young people attention on these important topics. So thank you, everybody, for their time and effort.
And we look forward to meeting you, Andrew, on September 4th.
Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting you all at the conference.
Cool.
And Will, Marie, and Abraham, could you also talk about the part of SAMHSA that you all represent, please?
This is Abraham Ruiz. We are at the Center for Substance Abuse Treatment at the Office of Consumer Affairs.
Thank you. And since it's an intimate group this afternoon, what I'd like to do is open the floor up for everyone to introduce themselves. Andrew, I see that you're on. Why don't you very quickly introduce yourself, and then we'll follow up with Christy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Gonzalez, and I am a sixth-year student at Butler University. And my video submission here was the RX Trap. And after this is actually not even an academic year for me. So after this year, I'll be graduated and I'll get my doctorate in pharmacy.
Thank you. And Christy, what organization do you represent?
Hi, I'm with the Live Free Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition in Pinellas County.
Oh, okay. And where is that?
Florida.
Oh, in Florida. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Deborah, what about you? You can introduce yourself today.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm Deborah Davidson, and I'm on staff at NICPI. I'm the membership director, and the videos were really awesome from both winners.
They really are awesome. And Phyllis, what about you? Okay. Tiggy.
Hi, my name is Tiggy, and I'm in staff with NICPI, and the videos were amazing, so I'm glad to be a part of this.
Thank you. And Ray and I, of course, have introduced ourselves. So let's just jump right in. The first thing that we're going to talk about today are the goals and objectives of the Pass It Forward Video Challenge. And my first question to everyone, and particularly Andrew, this is kind of directed at you, and I'll be sitting in for Raylan. Was it challenging to create a video drawing from the websites and simultaneously demonstrating the use of social media?
He may have gotten disconnected. Why don't you channel Raylan?
Right, that's exactly what I was going to do. I'm reading here from Raylan's notes. Basically, she felt that the most challenging issue was finding a way to show young people interacting with the websites without breaking anonymity or being cheesy or unrealistic. Her team ended up tackling this challenge by looking at the use of social media as a whole. How do young people interact with each other on social media? And she really acknowledged that social media is changing the way that recovery itself works by connecting people not only with resources, but also with each other. In particular, she referenced Facebook because it gives young people a platform to showcase the wonderful things that recovery has allowed people to do in their lives. And in that way, helps young people in recovery become examples to friends whom they may or may not even know have a drug abuse problem. And then she concluded with that question, human connection and faith in humanity are key to recovery. And if used correctly, social media can help young people reach people who they want to reach on their own campuses. So I think that's really interesting. Andrew, are you back? Okay, we seem to have lost Andrew. Okay, next question. Was the number of websites too many, too few, just right? Any thoughts on that? Okay.
I'd like to go back, if we could, to the use of social media, and
okay.
I hope it's okay, Wilmari and Abraham, if I call on you to just share with us, if you would, the evolving role of social media within SAMHSA in terms of your work with the recovery partners and generally across the agency as it relates to reaching out to key target audiences.
Yes, definitely. As you said, not only us with the Recovery Month team, which we are actually very active in the social media, different social media networks, because we know and we understand that it's a great way to reach people in a very timely manner. But also agency-wise, SAMHSA has been very active in all the social media networks, Facebook, Twitter, and all of those that maybe we don't know much about. And the Office of Communications has been doing a great job, not only to target those audiences, external audiences, but also in-house, to communicate. So it's a trend that, it's been out for a while, and we have to get used to it and work with it and really use it for in our for our benefit to put the message out there, especially in this case for young people, which we know are very active in all the social media. It's a great way to engage them.
Great, thank you.
And Christy, what about you? Are you all using social media in your coalition?
Yes, and that is an area that we're really branching out into, but especially trying to get the youth that are involved with our coalition to more actively participate on our social media sites.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something when we gave them this video challenge to try and find something to submit
okay.
to this. They too found it a little difficult to kind of incorporate all of that into 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we've talked about it here in our office that one of the strategies or one of the challenges is the fact that if we had said, can you go ahead and create a 2-minute video about any one of these absolutely incredible sites, that would have been easy. But somehow incorporating that social media piece made it a little bit more challenging.
Or also demonstrating the use of social media within a video creates
it's like a video within a video.
Video within a video type of thing. So that is a challenge. It's under the learning curve. It's a great learning. It's a great message to learn.
Well, I tell you, as someone who was in charge of the social media piece for NCPI, I learned an incredible amount by promoting this video challenge to the network of prevention and treatment organizations across the country. And I felt like I had all these new friends who I had no idea who they were, where we started to dialogue on some of these key issues. So it was an exciting process, and I really look forward to continuing that. Andrew, I just got a text from you. I know that you're back on. Do you want to add to this discussion?
Sure, and actually I had no sound coming in on my phone either. So what exactly was the question?
Oh, okay. My question to you was it challenging to create a video drawing from the websites and simultaneously demonstrating the use of social media?
Yeah, when we first saw what the challenge was and trying to incorporate all of those things into it, we were kind of at a loss at the beginning. We were wondering, well, how are we going to do this? And I think I talked a little bit about it on the last webinar about how the idea kind of just came to us. We're like, well, let's make a story, and this person is going to be using social media, which is a very normal thing to do in this day and age, and then just have a story that is easy to follow and can apply to a lot of people, and the pieces just kind of fell into place for us.
Okay, great. And the other question in terms of follow-up, the number of websites, was it too many, too few, just right? What are your thoughts?
I think it was a good number of websites to use, because each of them they're all very similar in as far as the medication abuse and misuse and everything along those lines. But they were different enough that you could kind of pick and choose and be a little bit more specific about what areas you wanted to address.
Okay. Any other thoughts before we move on? Okay, let's move on to the next question. The timing. My question to you here is, was the challenge timing in terms of announcing the competition in April with delivery in June appropriate for the young adult age group or the young person's age group?
I think it was good because really, especially like you mentioned, the young people age group, if you do something way too far ahead in advance, it's just going to get pushed off until the last minute anyway. Okay. So giving a couple months' notice is, I think, appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is Ray from NCPI. I'm wondering if there's any comment or follow-on about the Indra. I heard your message about a couple of months is a good lead time, but because we ended in June, which is really the end of school wrap-up time, and I guess the crunch time for development fell in May, probably May and latter part of May. We did hear some feedback that because of exams and because of just the end of school year happenings that go on, that created a challenge for some in entering the challenge. So I think if we have one takeaway ourselves in looking at scheduling, we might want to consider having the videos submitted by end of April, for example. Of course, that would back the calendar up, and sometimes you have to work to a project calendar, but I think that is a takeaway. It's an important learning for us. I know that.
I agree.
I think that's what our youth said, too, that are involved, is that was just a very bad time for them with school-related projects and things like that.
That's exactly what we had heard as well. So I agree with Ray that is typically, if you look at the school calendar, is the fall or the spring a better time, in you all's opinion?
Or is one better than the other?
Is one better than the other?
I think if you're going to look at the college age group, I think fall's going to be a little easier because you may have people running into graduation issues.
Oh, that's true.
In springtime. Okay. We did have some of our 18-year-old high school kids looking at this to see if they could enter. And, that also was a problem with their schedules, the graduation from high school, and some of them were dually enrolled in college too. So the fall would probably be a little bit easier, I think.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
I think part of it...
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think part of it depends on what school it is, too. I'm not sure what the normal summer begin time is for most schools. I think for us, though, this year at Butler, we were done, I think it was right at the beginning of May and end of April. So it kind of depends, especially because high school usually will stay in session for another month longer than college.
Right.
So it is just kind of hard to time it to get both age groups, because if we push it back to due in April, April for us was the end of the month, was when we were having finals, and then 2 months before that, we're preparing for finals and wrapping up with end of year activities. But it really just does depend on what school, and I know some colleges will get out much later than others, so it's kind of hard to put an exact perfect date with to reach the whole nation and to reach both college and high school. So I think I think fall might actually be better.
Fall might be better.
So you're not hitting the end of year things for all of the students.
Okay, I like that too.
Let me ask a related question if I could, and that the question relates to we in reaching out to promote the Pass It Forward Video Challenge, we did find some great networks that we either already knew about and were working with on some level to reach college students themselves on campus. How might we gain access to young people who are not in school?
Great question.
I know there are thousands and thousands and thousands of treatment centers and recovery programs and clubs for young people and things like that. But is there? I don't think that there's a magic bullet, but we would be interested in any suggestions or advice for how we can reach out to for the age cohort 18 to 25 who may either be in the workplace, trying to be in the workplace, or in the community but not in school.
I think that's a great question. Any thoughts on that?
I don't really have a specific thought. I mean, that's something that we as a coalition struggle with as well, how to reach them. I mean, our fiscal agent for the coalition is a substance abuse treatment center. So we do reach people of that age group that are active in recovery. But as far as the ones that are not in recovery but are trying to join the workforce at that age, if we haven't reached them through a high school program previously, we find that it's very difficult to connect with that group.
That really is
it's a niche,
like a chasm that we need to consider. A subsection of that age cohort that it's important to get these messages into their hands as well.
And I have to wonder if that's where social media can be very useful. But again, it's trying to find the organizations that connect with those people. And I think perhaps the workplace is a really good source because now so many workplaces have the EAP programs that really do the education and outreach to young employees as they come in.
And it's a good idea, although the employment is such a challenge now for young people in terms of actually gaining employment. We might also want to or consider and reconsider reaching parents of young adults who are either still in the home because of the economics, the financial world right now, or that certainly have high level of concern about this message reaching their children, their young adult children. So I thank you for those insights, but it is a challenging question.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're not alone.
Right.
It's a tough age group.
I think we've got an organization in our county that is working to engage businesses in becoming drug-free workplaces. That might be a route to partner with them to try and engage that age group that are at work while they're working with the businesses to become a drug-free workplace to reach their employees that are of that age too.
Christy, is that a nonprofit or is it a government agency that's doing that?
They're a nonprofit. in our area, it's Drug Free America Foundation. They had received a grant to work with businesses to get more drug-free workplaces with the whole drug testing and things like that. And I'm pretty sure there were several other grants awarded like that throughout the country that, that might be something to look into to find them.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a really nice niche. Okay, well, why don't we move on? My next question also concerns timing. Given the timing parameters of this project, was there enough time to actually produce a video? And I know that, Christy, what you were saying, given the kind of broad brush timing, there wasn't enough. But in terms of actually being able to produce a video, Andrew, what are your thoughts? Did you feel like you had a sufficient amount of time to actually create a video from start to finish, or was there something missing in that process?
Yeah, great question. And actually, I think that's the question that I was answering at the previous question. So, yes, I do think that 2 months is an appropriate amount of time. I don't think we really even started in April. I think it was May, and that we really started hitting the production process hard and filming and everything. And I mean, really, you just have to be able to sit down for a little while and just say, okay, we're going to get this done, and then really work through all of it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be over a long period of time, especially considering it's just a 2-minute video, which it's 2 minutes is really actually very short when you think about all the things that you might want to cram into a video. So I think that 2 months is an appropriate length of time.
Okay, good. And just so you know, what Raylan had suggested, in the future what she, and Andrew, see if this resonates with you, we need 2 to 3 weeks to fully form our ideas, conceptualize, and write a script, 1 week to produce, 1 week for post-production. So she's really in agreement with you that it's 4 to 5 weeks in the process.
Yeah, definitely.
That works for you. Okay. Next thing is the website. And here is my question. Was the website a necessary component to this competition, in you all's opinion?
As a repository for all things about the competition.
As the anchor.
Yeah.
Andrew, are you still live?
Yeah, I'm still
What are your thoughts?
It's been a little bit of time since I looked at it last, but I did look at it after the previous webinar, and I guess my only comment about it is that I don't think it was quite updated really quickly or anything, and I think it would have been really great if that were almost updated like immediately once the winners were announced. Just to make it a little bit easier to advocate for it and say, hey guys, look at this website, we won. It makes it a little bit easier just to help broadcast our videos and our information if it were a little bit more up to date. But I think it was a great resource as far as, this is where all of your information is. Here's some past webinars. Here's the requirements and, why you should enter this competition. I think that was good.
Okay. Were there any specific components of the website that you found to be useful as you created your video?
Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. I know it lists those websites that we needed to use, so that was obviously great that we could click on the links and see exactly what all of those websites had to offer to see which ones we really wanted to promote and hit hard in our videos.
Okay, very good. All right, next question. The webinars. There were 4 of them, as Ray was saying, beginning in April and ending with the session today. And the subject matter ranged from introducing the challenge and providing content about RX abuse, social media, and video production, to announcing the winners and having a discussion about their production process. And did you all find the webinars to be helpful?
I thought the webinars were helpful as far as getting groundwork and a place to really start and see, okay, what's the background of all of this, and what are the aims and the goals of it. So I think that was useful, and I think it was great that they were also saved and posted online, because I actually wasn't able to attend the first two, and another representative in our group was the one who I think actually registered for them and then forwarded them on to the rest of the group for all of us to see.
Okay, great. And interestingly enough, that's exactly what Raylan said too, that having the webinars posted was a really critical issue for her, since she wasn't able to attend the others. So when we do this again, we have to post them. We have to post the webinars. Christy, what about you? You were saying that your teens had been interested in pursuing this. Did you utilize the webinars at all in group?
Yeah, they went, and I did not participate in them. I think our executive director did, and then the teens were able to go back and look at them.
Okay.
Because with their schedules, they just are not in one place to actually do it when it's happening.
Yeah.
So they did go back and look at them, though, so that was nice that they could do that.
Okay.
Because I know sometimes they feel like because of their school commitments and things like that, some kind of, and not just for this video challenge, but for some other things we've had them involved in, that piece is often missing for them. They're not able to participate.
So I think our takeaway from the comments that you provided, thank you for them, is that it really is a 24/7 world now, and people need to access information when they can. And that might be in the middle of the morning, or it might be late at night.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important consideration that you confirmed for us.
Good. And I think even with some of the teen groups that we've worked with, sometimes the staff will schedule conference calls at 9 o'clock at night because that's when everyone's available.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and particularly for this audience, if we're trying to reach young adults aren't around during the day. They're around late at night. So it was an interesting, it's an interesting conundrum, is that the right word? That if we are trying to reach the organizations that work with young people, during the day is a very appropriate time to have a webinar. But if we're really trying to reach young people, then making sure that these webinars are available at any time is really the way to go. Great. Very good. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, now we're into challenge promotion. And really, our promotion began in April 2013, primarily consisting of e-blasts, e-bites, word of mouth, and social media posts. And first of all, I wanted to just touch base with you all as to how you found out about the challenge. What was the way that you heard about it? And Andrew, why don't we start with you, and then we can just go down the list.
Sure. Actually, can I ask what e-blasts are? I'm not familiar with
an e-blast? An
Yeah.
e-blast is sending an email, it's out to the world.
Got it.
Like a list, yeah.
Okay. I think, I guess for your first question as far as how I heard about it, it was word of mouth for us, and we only heard about it once from this one person, and this person was she's pretty active in the Butler health community kind of thing, and I think it would be great to definitely, if people heard about this in more than one way, I feel like repetition is really important to hear about this from a lot of different angles, and then it almost adds more credibility to it because it's like, oh yeah, I've heard about this before. Let's really look into it. Sometimes it takes multiple exposures to something to really even pay attention to it.
Right. And if we were to look at rating these particular strategies, the email communication device everyone receives through the webinar service, word of mouth, social media, what would it be? For example, getting an email, or maybe, Andrew, you answered the question, it's got to be a combination of all of these things. Or any one of these strategies more effective than others, would you say?
I think it really depends. I guess first of all, you need to have the right contact information for people. So I can't really say for myself how effective the e-blasts, e-bites, and social media posts were if I never even really saw them too much.
Okay.
But I honestly think word of mouth is probably the best way to do it, because that way you can actually like have a conversation with somebody who has potentially already done this project before or who is actually currently working on it. Because if your friend is doing something, you're more likely to do it yourself if they're able to vouch for it, rather than just receiving a mass marketing type of email. Not to say that those are not effective though, because I mean people do respond to things like that. But I would probably be more prone myself to do something if it were word of mouth.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else want to jump in on that?
I think for us as a coalition, with actual staff kind of trying to facilitate getting the word out, we got ours through the email blast.
Okay.
And then we took that information and, distributed it by hand to our youth clubs, and then we put it on our social media and things like that to try and promote it in our community. But I think, the first email was really where we found out about it and were able to get it out to other people. And then we work with other groups that promoted it through their agencies and things like that. So, but I think that kind of goes with the word of mouth too.
It really does. It kind of comes down to that. Are there any strategies that we might have missed along the way, in you all's opinion? Okay. All right, let's move on. The prizes. And here is my question there. Did the choice of prizes impact a decision to submit a video? And what Raylan said, absolutely the iPad, that was like a real driver for her. That was a really attractive prize. Andrew, what about you?
I think the prizes are great, and honestly, the rest of my group didn't even know what the prizes were until I told them after we had already made the video and everything. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we'll make the video." But for us, I guess we were a little bit of a different circumstance because if any of you were listening to the last webinar, I talked a little bit about how I'm already in this group with 3 other students, and we're actually working on Generation RX, promoting that at the Butler campus as our PharmD project, which everyone is required to do a PharmD project. And we just thought that this would be a great way to help get our name out there and to help kind of promote our cause too. So since we were already a group, it was just another thing to really help show what we were trying to do. Now, I think the prizes for people who are not already in a group, I think they're a great incentive to form a group with some friends or other acquaintances and to work on this project.
Now, and it's interesting, that's exactly what Raylan said, that they, on her campus at Ohio State, they utilized the competition as a catalyst to start their recovery community. And it's exactly what you're saying. And I also think in some of the email communications, what I talked about in those communications was utilize this project as an assignment. So it sounds like that perhaps may be something that if we were to do this again, that messaging is an effective thing that we should consider. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think that is it. Thank you for your candid responses, and now I'm going to turn this back over to Ray.
Let's see where we are. Why don't we let me just change one slide here, and this is really what we want, what I'd like to take just a few minutes on, if we can, and then we'll wrap up a little early in the interest of everyone's time. But we are very interested in any suggestions that you might have as to other areas or other related issues that we might consider for different kinds of either a video challenge or other kinds of programs where we can engage with and encourage young people to be creative, to think hard about the messaging and the materials and pathways for getting those messages and materials out. So, kind of it's an open-ended question, and but we would be interested in any thoughts, particularly as it might relate to what's happening in this case in a local coalition community as to what are the current prescription drug abuse or substance use disorder issues as they relate to this age cohort, and what opportunity does that bring for those of us who are engaged in abuse prevention and awareness and prevention?
I think one issue that we receive a lot of questions about and don't have a whole lot of resources to point people to is the synthetic drug issue. That is, you know, as much as they change the laws to outlaw these products, they're still out there, and parents don't know a whole lot about them, and I really don't think the youth understand the full danger of them.
So this, for example, is an example of the bath salts?
The bath salts and the synthetic marijuana are the ones that we're seeing most often. I have heard that there are some others out there, but those are the two that really there's not a lot of education resources available about.
Will Murray or Abraham, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm wondering if is there any focus right now on the synthetic drugs within the agency, or what you've been hearing since you're so engaged with so many different kinds of organizations?
Yeah, well, I will have to check on that. I'm sure there has to be some programs in some other office. Our office right now, we don't have anything really focused on that this year. But yeah, I'm sure there has to be other programs, and I can definitely send any other information.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
And we could post just an information or an FYI.
Right.
Pass it forward website, and also on Recovery Opens Doors as well.
Through social media.
And through social media as well. So I think, again, I'm thinking old school here, so I have to be reminded about our social media capability. But that's a very good idea, and I appreciate your in that area, because just today before the webinar we were reading an article about in this case about bath salts and the ravaging effect that it's having. So
yeah.
Andrew, any thoughts that you might have about from your perspective on campus, and focus particularly from a pharmacist's perspective, about what you're hearing and or experiencing in your generational age cohort?
Sure, yeah. First of all, the comment about the synthetic drugs, that's really good. I feel like there's really not a ton of information out there. Even in our pharmacy curriculum, we barely talked about them, and I really don't know much of anything about them. So I think that's great, and I think that should definitely be something that's addressed in the future. And kind of taking a different look from a different angle on this matter, as far as prescription drug abuse would be misuse, which I would probably say isn't necessarily like using it for inappropriate reasons, but more for using it correctly as far as adherence goes, and as far as taking the medications that you're supposed to be taking on a continual basis. Now, for the younger population, it's not quite as big of an issue because younger people aren't on really prescribed quite as many medications as you get into the older populations. But I mean, diabetes is becoming huge. Even in younger people, a lot more people are being diagnosed with that, as well as other more chronic disease states, where it really is important to take those medications as prescribed, take them every day, and not just kind of take them when you remember or when you think you should be taking them. So it's not quite exactly what this program is looking at as far as abuse, but I think it's still very important from a pharmacy perspective.
Well, I appreciate, NCPI appreciates that comment especially because our mission is to focus on promoting safe and appropriate medicine use. And that really does relate to misuse through lack of information or understanding about the use of the medicine, and that ties into non-adherence or adherence promotion. But also, since there's been this epidemic or explosion in medicine abuse, I think you raise an important point that it's a great learning opportunity to build from the ground floor a solid foundation about the fact that all medicines have risks as well as benefits, and that there's value added, there's value from using medicines properly, and huge risks from misuse and abuse. So that's a point well taken for consideration in building on young people's understanding of medicines and what they are and their value in treating disease and illness, and also from the consequences of abuse, not just for themselves but their friends as well.
Which segues into something that Raylan said in her notes, that one issue that she really saw on campus is this whole notion of sharing your medications with other people. And it's almost seen as a sign of friendship. I thought that was kind of a curious thing, that if you share your meds with somebody else, that this individual is your friend, which another side of that whole misuse issue. You know, that somehow the definition of misuse is not only to use your meds correctly, but also don't share with, I mean, everything that NCPI has always said, don't share your meds with other people. But it's another level of it.
Well, and also we want to imprint the fact or communicate the fact that sharing a prescription medicine that's prescribed for you by a prescriber that knows your health history, is that medicine is for you, and it's also against the law to share medicines as well. It is so there's a legal component to it as well as a huge health risk as well. So I appreciate your bringing that up about this broader perspective on safe and appropriate medicine use.
Okay.
I think we're getting near the end of our questions. It's a great dialogue, but we are interested in, NCPI has been seeing, and perhaps your organizations have been seeing, participating in a number of video challenges that are starting to occur, I should say. And I'm wondering about, do you see a future for video challenges as an opportunity for communicating about abuse, substance use prevention, awareness and prevention? And if not, or if so, or let's say if not, where's the opportunity moving forward?
I think video challenges are a great medium right now, especially if they're like uploaded to YouTube after the challenge is over, especially the winners and stuff, because that's where a lot of youth are going to get information.
Great comment.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on that?
Wilmari and Abraham, I have a question for you in that vein. Are you seeing that SAMHSA is really embracing video as well as a way to communicate with young people?
Yeah, I mean, that's again, this is the first time since I've been here, and I don't think we have done this before, this office, a video challenge like this type, but that was definitely one of the reasons, the fact that we want to try these new ways to communicate, especially young people, young adults. So it's definitely, it's the first time. It's a little bit of a, an experiment, but at the same time, I think it's the way, and we definitely are learning a lot by, with this experience, with this challenge that we just had, and it's a starting point, for kids doing stuff like this. Definitely, maybe some changes, and we're going to learn from what we got. But yeah, I think this is the way to go now. You know, this type of, you know, using social media and video challenges, and it's the new way of communicating.
And I would add to that, Wilmar and Abraham from SAMHSA, NCPI as a partner, one of the partners with National Recovery Month Planning Partnership. I think it's been an interesting and informative to watch how the public service announcements that SAMHSA develops for National Recovery Month have moved from the television screen, where they still appear, now through social media. And I would bet when we have the kind of the wrap up for 2013 that there's probably a much greater shift to the viewership through social media, although there's a challenge in and of itself for tracking that, as there is from traditional television.
I agree.
And you know, it's almost like we all as a society are in the process now of trying to figure out how do we define television these days, because it's a laptop anywhere you are.
Right, even on your phone. I mean, you can do it any place. Okay, next slide.
This is really, we just wanted to leave with a call to action and input from NCPI, and that is if your organizations continue to be interested in working with NCPI, and I know NCPI is certainly interested and engaged with SAMHSA and looks forward to continuing to work together, we would like to extend the network for everyone that's on the call here for working together on future challenges. At this point, it's very important that we recognize some organizations that helped pull together the Pass It Forward Video Challenge. We want to recognize CADCA and Rembrandt Films and Spark Action for providing tips and information about putting together videos and some experiential information sharing at the front end of this process. We also want to recognize the National Association of Cheap Drugstores Foundation for providing a grant to NCPI that will enable us to provide the prizes that we've talked about, and also Generation RX for making it possible for our first and second place video winners to attend an August 7th and 8th conference in Columbus, Ohio, the second annual Collegiate Prescription Drug Abuse Prevention and Recovery Conference, a national conference where we, Andrew and Raylan, will be presenting a workshop on the Pass It Forward Video Challenge program, Insights and Learnings. It will be presented as a breakout, and then it will be repeated. So we're going to get double duty out of both of our winners at that conference. So that's some great exposure. And it's very important that NCPI recognize the role that SAMHSA has played in making it possible through the task order, that a contract that we've been working with to develop this. So it's important that we acknowledge that support. I'm sure you all know how to get in touch with us, but if not, this webinar will be posted as well on the Pass It Forward site, and this is the closing slide for each of the videos, so you can contact us at our email or phone, and with any questions or any information you'd like to share about the Pass It Forward and new opportunities. I think that wraps us up, except for extending an appreciative thank you to everyone on the line today, and we ask you to go in good health and keep passing it forward.